Friends, welcome to the channel Electrical and Automation. Friends, today I have brought you a really exciting video. Today we are going to talk about the Modbus protocol. And I guaranteed you that after watching this video completely, you will have every detail about the Modbus protocol that you have heard of or you haven't heard of. And whatever the detail I am telling you, it is used in industry. So very clearly in your mind that you won't need to watch it again the way I'm going to tell you. This is a part of ongoing protocol series. The next video I will make made on hard protocol and Ethernet IP protocol. So the simple logic behind the Modbus protocol, when we talk about the PLC, DCS or automation, alongside the PLC, there are various devices in the field like VFD or energy meter. So when we communicate with them either in an analog form or in a digital form, we require some connection. But there is another method that is called the Modbus. For that, we'll use a Modbus protocol. You just connect a single two-wire cable in the VFD or the energy meter. Through that, the single cable, you will get all kinds of data. For example, you will get the power factor, current, load, and much more parameter in a single wire. So let's bring to the history. In the 1979, a company called Modicon developed this Modbus communication, and initially it was a proprietary protocol, not an open protocol. Later, when Modicon transferred the ownership to the Schneider Electric, it became an open protocol for everybody. So this means what? This means any company, for example, in automation, Allen Bradley is there, Siemens is there, ABB is there, Yokogawa is there. Anyone can use it because it's free, and any vendor can integrate it, making it very a robust protocol. Now we will move to the types of the Modbus protocol. So there are three types, but practically we are focusing on two in this video. One is the Modbus RTU, that is remote terminal unit. Second one is the Modbus Ethernet TCP IP or Modbus Ethernet IP. And third is the Modbus ASCII that was used in the past, now largely obsolete due to its low speed. So master slave versus client server protocol is what? In Modbus, the PLC act as a master or an initiator, and devices like energy meter act as a slave, or VFD act as a slave. So the master send the request and slave response. This is called the polling. So by this way, it is continuously asking for data. And in the Modbus Ethernet, if you talk about, the terminology changes to client and server. The client, the one requesting the data, and the server, the device which holding and providing the data to the that is called sensors or drives. So the key tip is what? If you have heard about master and slave in a meeting or a document, so it is about only Modbus RTU. If you hear client and server, then it is a Modbus Ethernet IP. Simple is that. So Modbus is work on physical media. If you talk about communication medium, so Modbus is a protocol, but it needs a physical medium to travel its data. For example, you have heard about the RS-232, one-to-one device only, and it is up to the 15 meters. Now RS-485, that is multiple of 32 nodes used most commonly in the industry. And third one is the Ethernet IP. It uses the star topology via network switch up to 100-meter, and unlimited devices you can add. So for 485, if you need a more than 32 device on a single line, you need to add a repeater, which then allows you another 32 device add in that network. Now, Modbus RTU RS485 uses daisy chain wiring, devices connected in a parallel. If one device fails, the rest are unaffected and keep giving the data as requested. So Modbus Ethernet IP uses a star topology. All devices are connected through a network switch. And so now moving to the this Modbus register types. There are four types of register, four quadrants. If you see, every Modbus enabled device has a register map. You can identify that data type just from the register address prefix. Register address, like if any register address start with 0, then it is a coil, or you can say a digital output value it is holding, and it is also a 1-bit data. And the value which start, the register which start with 1, it gives the digital input. It is also a 1-bit data. and the value which starts with register, which starts with 3, it is a input register AI value it's holding, and it is a 16-bit. And the register which start with 4, it is a analog output data it is holding. And for double integer, the real value with the decimal point, you require a double integer, right? So for a double integer, you require a 2 register address. Since single 16-bit register can only hold a whole number, to get a decimal value of any particular value, you must read a 2 contiguous holding register, 2 register for that, and combine them mathematically in the PLC program so that you can get the value of the decimal. Now let's talk about the Modbus frame structure. So information doesn't just travel as a raw electrical signal. It travels in a structure frame. So Modbus RTU frame is like, first is the slave ID, second is the function code, third is the data, and last one is the CRC. So the slave ID is the unique ID which is assigned to each device which is connected parallelly. And the function code is what? Tells what type of data is requested. And data is holding the actual data which is requested, right? Now CRC verifies the frame arrived correctly or not. Now when you talk about the Modbus TCP IP frame, LBP header is there, that is IP address function code data. The slave ID is replaced by MBAP header. MBAP header stands for Modbus application header, containing the device IP address. No CRC is needed because the header itself ensures the integrity. It does not require to any kind of CRC check. Now let's come again with the function codes. Now the 01, you can see the read coil, read DO is there. And for 02 discrete input, that means DI you have to read. Now holding register, 4 is there, then read AO. 5 is there and read AI. And for writing the single coil, on a single coil, you have a code starts with 06. Now for writing into a DI, you have a code starts with 15. Now writing a multiple coils in the DO, multiple register in AO, you require a register of start with 16. Now comes to the communication life cycle. Communication life cycle is that master sends a query, that is a frame with a slave ID, and there is a function code and register address. Second, the frame travel via RS485, RS232 or Ethernet. Then slave checks its ID. If it matches, process the request, and slave reads the request register from its memory. Then slave echoes the data back to the master. If an error occurs, then slave returns an exception response error wait, so that every data will come if any error is there and data will not loss. Now when it comes to testing and simulation, to test the Modbus communication, a free simulation software called Modicon or similar are used to set the COM port. For example, if you see the COM4 is the set is the device ID, and function code we have to give when we run the simulation software, and starting address, register address we have to give, and the length of the data. The master queries then slave ID device, and the data is returned confirming the communication is working. So overall, the summary is that Modbus has a two main types, Modbus RTU and Modbus TCP IP. Never say just a Modbus. Specify RTU or a TCP IP. RTU means master slave and TCP IP is a client server interface. Physical medium like RS485 most common in the industry, Ethernet for the larger network, and register address tell you that data type, what type of data type is we are actually working. If you found this video helpful, like and share it. The next video on the protocol series will cover the Profinet or the similar protocol. Thank you for watching the video. Have a good day.